Go.
Oh, yes.
Second try.
Second
always
try.
works. It helps
Yes, it's
if you have your
good.
script.
Yes. So, you didn't see the first take. Or maybe you did, and so you're privileged part of the theater world. But welcome to... Quarantine Theater.
It's Mercury at retrograde.
So, today we're going to visit the classics. This is Tales from Ovid, specifically from his poem The Metamorphosis, which is a retelling of the Greek myths. So I remember learning about Ovid from a fellow actor, Boston actor named Nicholas Linfield. Who there remembers Nicholas? He was not only a wonderful actor, but he's also, you don't remember him.
I don't know.
He was not only just a wonderful actor, but he was a great scholar. And he told me about and taught me about Ovid's Passion. And he was a Roman poet, and he wrote during the time of Augustus. And he had a huge influence on Western literature, although he's not remembered much today. You don't hear people quoting Ovid much at all. But today we're doing the myth of Pheaton. This is a script adapted by Mary Zimmerman, made a wonderful play that played on Broadway for a while called Metamorphosis, that both of us saw. And it's done around a great pool, a swimming pool, which is very handy if you're doing Greek myths. And
you stay cool.
yes, stay cool. So Linda's going to be playing the title role of Pheaton, and I'm going to be playing the therapist, because as Mary Zimmerman reimagined it, he's at a therapist session talking about his demise. And I also play Apollo a little bit later. So with that,
Shall we begin?
we shall begin. So, Pheaton by Ovid. Pheaton enters wearing sunglasses and carrying a yellow rubber raft. He tests the water with his toe, then launches his raft and goes to lie on it. The therapist enters with a notepad and sits on a chair next to the pool. Throughout the following, Pheaton floats on his yellow raft. Go on.
Well, my parents were separated when I was really little, before I was even born. It was a sort of a one-night sort of thing, except it was in the day in a meadow where my mother went to watch my father pass by every day. Anyway, I always knew who he was, and I would see him pass by every day, of course. Who doesn't? But I never knew him, and he wasn't really around. I mean, not around.
Where better might we find a more precise illustration of the dangers of premature initiation than in this ancient tale of alternating parental indulgence and neglect?
I went to an expensive school, and there were a lot of boys there who were, you know, the sons of the rich and famous. And one day we're on the playground, and this one kid, Epiphas, he goes to me, "So, Pheaton, blah, blah, who's your father? What's he do? Blah, blah, blah." So I tell him my father's the son. And he says, "Tell me another." And I say, "He's the sun. He's Phoebus Apollo." And he just basically trampled me. He just basically beat the shit out of me like I was lying.
Neither his own opinion of himself nor the regard for him or lack of it in his peers obviates the father's primitive role as initiating priest for the younger being. Now it cannot be contested that the absence of this figure is, for a son, an almost irredeemable loss.
So I go home and I say, "Mom, this happened, you know, at school." And she gets all upset, crying and everything, because she still loves him, and it's an insult to her as well. And I'm like, well, if it's true, how come there's no proof of it? It's unfair to us, you know, that there's no proof. And she gets more upset and she says, "Hear me, my child. In all his glory, your father looks down upon us. By his splendor, I swear that you are his truly begotten son. That fiery oath, that fiery orb you see crossing the sky each day, whose heat enlivens and enables the world and orders our days and nights is indeed your sire. Believe me, my darling. Blah, blah, blah.
When he matures beyond the customary Eden of the mother breast, the child seeks to individuate beyond its enfolding gate and turns to new symbols of parental realms, thus beginning his spiritual passage from one sphere to the next. At this point in the play, Phoebus Apollo, enters upstage carrying a music stand, and he starts singing Una Aura Amorosa from Così fan tutte. And here it is. Now, occasionally, he'll speak in English, echoing Pheaton.
So, she tells me to go over to the valley, where my dad goes to work every morning, and just ask him, to set things straight, to, do right by me. So I set out, and it's hot and it's dusty and it's a long way across Ethiopia. And I hitch part of the time, and part of the time I walk, and finally, I get there, and the hill is steep.
But this passage is never easy.
At the door are my dad's secretaries, the days and the hours and the century, but they recognize me and they say, go on in. And there he is, all shining and golden, and I can't even look at him, he's so bright. And you know what he says to me? He says, my son, you are welcome.
My son, you are welcome.
Speak, Pheaton, to your father.
Speak, Pheaton, to your father.
I cannot even tell you what this was to me. So I tell him everything, I just spill my guts. He listens to me and he says, let me grant you a favor.
Let me grant you a
Whatever
favor.
you ask shall be yours.
Whatever you ask shall be yours.
And he swears to it.
The conventional exordium of the initiate from the latent to realized potential is inevitably accomplished by a radical realignment of his emotional relationship with the imago parental authority.
Now, there's only one thing I want. I mean, it's obvious, right? I say, give me the keys to your car. Immediately he starts backpedaling, saying it's my job.
It's my job.
And no one else can do it.
You cannot
And then
do
up in
it.
the sky, there are the bull and the lion and the scorpion.
There's a scorpion.
To get me. And I say, give me the keys to your car. I want to drive it myself across the sky. It's my turn, you promise. I want to light the world today.
The father or his substitute must be assured, before he transfers the symbols of adult vocation, that the son no longer is operating from infantile complexes that might dangerously reflect on his new task, through the unconscious promptings of self-aggrandizement, or personal preference, or even resentment.
Where have you been all my life, Dad? It's my turn. Turn it over! So he hands over the reins, but he won't stop giving advice, like don't fly too high, nor too low, stay in the tracks, go slantwise, on and on, but I didn't listen.
Myths are the earliest forms of science.
It was over before it began. It was chaos, okay? Out of control, as if no one was driving, My knees were weak. I was blind from all the light. I set the earth on fire, and I fell, and it just destroyed me, I was just completely and utterly destroyed. O-V-E-R. Over.
It has been said that the myth is a public dream. Dreams are private myths. Unfortunately, we give our mythic side scant attention these days. As a result, a great deal escapes us, and we no longer understand our own actions. So it remains important and salutary to speak not only to the rational and easily understood, but also of the enigmatic things, the irrational and the ambiguous. To speak both privately and publicly. End of play. So thank you for joining us again for Quarantine Theater. We have enjoyed doing this now for months. These are going to be...
There's nothing else to do. We're in quarantine.
These are posted on our Quarantine Theater YouTube channel, which I'll post again after this. All of the episodes are there if you want to look at some of our other ones. Also, it's being posted on the Actors Studio of Newburyport on their website, on their video. Yes, they're wonderful. Video readings or something like that. And so, if you enjoy this, share it or watch it later with friends. And during all that time, we hope you're staying very safe and very healthy.